and welcome once again to another episode on B Elma David channel. If you watched my previous video, thank you so much. And if you also just subscribed newly to this channel, welcome, and thank you very much for subscribing. Now, in today's video, I'm just going to talk about how my how last week went for me, and also talk about something that I feel is very, very important, especially for those of you who are still single and dating or even newlyweds. So, I'm going to be talking about what to expect in the first 2 years of marriage. So, let's get into it. Okay, so I'm so sorry, guys. I couldn't film so much from last week. However, I had a very engaging week. I had series of lectures. I had some interviews. But I feel for me, like the highlight of my week was, a couple's night out that my husband and I attended at our church. Last week Thursday, if I'm not mistaken, or Wednesday. It was really interesting to say the least. So let me just tell you one secret. My husband and I, we haven't really gone on dates or date nights, especially since we had our daughter. So this was really it was something to look forward to, and especially since it was tagged like a couples day or a couples fellowship. Maybe I'll just insert a few pictures in this video just so that you can have a feel of what it was. But it was really, really interesting, and I feel like if couples can have more of such events, it will be very good and interesting for your relationship. So let's delve into the topic of discussion for today. So I said that today we are going to be talking about what to expect in the first 2 years in marriage. And I feel this is so important because we go into marriage having certain expectations. Now, in case you're wondering why should you even listen to what I have to say about this, I mean, this year, thankfully, we'll be approaching 3 years in marriage. So I feel like I'm just the right person to talk to you about this. For me, I feel like the best expectation to have before going into a marriage with your significant other or with anyone um, is having no expectations. Now, I know that this may sound like you may be wondering, like, I don't understand, Elma, but you just said you're going to tell us what to expect, and now you're saying that the best expectation is no expectations. And I'm like, I kid you not, that is the best. Don't go into marriage having any expectations of what will be or what your partner is supposed to do. I'm going to share my reasons with you very shortly. But first, if you know that you are yet to subscribe and you've watched this far, please kindly subscribe to my YouTube channel where I talk about motherhood and everything in between, and also get to share some of my behind the scenes, real life, unfiltered moments with you. Okay, so back to what we were talking about. Before I got married, I had a lot of expectations. I had a lot of ideologies about what marriage should be or what it should look like. So you can pretty much say I went into marriage having so many expectations. Like I even had timelines or time frames for certain things or certain events to happen. And one thing I can tell you is this: when you go into a relationship, especially marriage, with someone, and then you have all these expectations in your head, like those expectations, more times than not, usually build up into disappointment. Like, what do I mean by this? So let's say that you have a certain expectation that your husband is supposed to do this or your wife is supposed to act like this, and you get into the marriage and it doesn't turn out that way, right? What usually happens is that you get disappointed, and those are just like recipes for resentment in marriage. Why I'm of the opinion that it's better and it's it will save you a lot of stress and drama if you just go into a marriage without having those expectations. So if you're not having expectations, what should you do, or how should you prep your mind before going into marriage? I'm sure that some of you may want to ask me that. I feel like you shouldn't hinge your relationship on those expectations or certain expectations. Um, yes, it's good to have a plan, have a game plan, or have this ideology of what you want, or maybe you can say, okay, this is what I expect you to do, and then you can discuss that with your partner beforehand. But there's something my dad always says. He says, expect the worst but prepare for the best. And I think that that simple statement is the best advice you can give to anybody in marriage, because most of the time you go into marriage with these high expectations and everything in your head is good, good, good. So when the bad happens, you just, because you already expected this good to happen and the bad comes, you get so disappointed. Approach it from this sense of, okay, we are just going on a journey together, and in life's journey anything is possible, anything can happen, both good and both bad, the negative and the positive. So we're just growing together, getting to know ourselves together, experiencing whatever life has to offer to us together. And because you did not have that expectation of a smooth sailing, it's easier for you to navigate through such occurrences. And there are no two marriages that are exactly alike. Every single relationship differs, because just as we have a lot of dynamism in humanism, or in being human, that's the same way our relationships tend to differ. So what may have worked for me may not work for the other person, and what works for the other person may not work for me. So in essence, don't go into that relationship, or don't go into marriage having lots of expectations, because at the end of the day those expectations may not be fulfilled, and you're going to end up getting disappointed. So instead, just approach it one day at a time. View your relationship with your spouse as a journey that you both are experiencing at the same time for the very first time, and grow together. Don't think that any one person should be more knowledgeable in a particular thing, because I mean, we are all here to learn and grow. You guys are having experiences. Let's say you're having your first child together, you're having your second child together for the very first time. So it's a new experience. Embrace that experience and grow. So with that said, I think that brings us to the end of today's episode. If you watched to this very end, please be sure to give this video a thumbs up, and also subscribe to my channel, and hopefully you get to see some behind the scene videos in the coming weeks. Thank you very much, and see you in my next video.